Now, the first consoles I grew up with were the PlayStations 1 and 2, but then my dad offered me to play the GameCube, which was my first Nintendo console ever. Of course, I grew up with games like Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, the Star Fox games, but there was one game in particular that I always remember that I heard no one ever talking about, and that was Wario World. Nintendo just dropped Wario World on the Nintendo GameCube NSO, and it's funny to see the whole world talking about this game now, where it just felt like a fever dream, like one of those games that I was like the only one that ever played, because no kid was talking about this game at the time. I felt like it was just a thing that I found and I found only. Now, I've played the game a handful of times, but it's been a while since the last time I played, so it's a little foggy in my memory how good it really was. But looking at the Metacritic reviews, I was actually surprised to see it sitting at a 71. At least the user score is a lot higher, but 71, that's pretty low for a Nintendo game, like really low. But maybe I was just blinded by nostalgia and I really wasn't looking at it on the surface of, is this really a good game? Was this really a good game for the GameCube and a good 3D platformer? So I had to go back one more time and really pay attention to this game and what it had to offer, because I remember this game being extremely wacky and it never really necessarily felt like a Nintendo game, and I'm about to show you why. The story to this game is pretty much non-existent. Wario, of course, loving his gold and treasure, just pretty much takes treasure from everywhere and just, I guess, steals a bunch of stuff. Like, where is he getting this stuff? He literally just steals it. But one of the things that he stole was a cursed black crystal that breaks free from its imprisonment, which jumps back into another imprisonment for some reason that you have to unlock again. Like, what is the story? However, to free the crystal again, you have to visit 4 worlds and unlock its world boss in order to defeat it and gain a key. Now, this game is a 3D platformer, but for a majority, it almost feels like a 2.5D game where you're mostly moving left to right. Think of Mario 3D World, but even more sectioned off to only moving left and right. I mean, there's not too many sections you're going to be moving forward or backward and progressing that way as a traditional 3D platformer. But you'll be running around the level pretty much just collecting things and making your way towards the end. Now, you cannot complete the level without getting a certain amount of collectibles within said level. For instance, there's a certain amount of crystals that you'll need in order to enter the boss room at the end of each level. These crystals are hidden in bonus rooms that you'll find, where you can just drop down in, or you have to use an enemy to drive him into the bonus room. Now, these bonus rooms give you full camera access. You'll either be locked into a small room with a puzzle or a big obstacle course that you'll have to platform to the very end. These rooms remind me a lot of the bonus rooms from Super Mario Sunshine, but honestly, as a huge Super Mario Sunshine fan, I think these are better. They control better. Wario actually feels fun to move. He's light and the controls are really snappy. There's no slippery movement or anything like that. He even has a ledge grab to help him climb up on surfaces, and the camera literally is perfect in this game. I genuinely didn't have a single issue with the camera in Wario World, which is hard to say with really any 3D platformer of this age. And I'll touch on these bonus rooms a bit more later, but overall, I love these things. And the free roam of camera access that you have, putting it over Wario, behind Wario, sometimes even a little bit underneath him to see exactly where you need to go, was actually pretty good. But like I said earlier, this game is based on collection and beating up enemies. There's a lot of sections where you'll just straight up punch and destroy tons of different style of enemies. Now, from level to level, the enemies will change, but for the most part, they're the same category of enemy. You'll have your big, strong ones that you can pick up and throw. You'll have your giant tank ones that take a while to weaken, and then you can pick up and throw them. You'll have your little grunts, but for the most part, it's the same enemy, rinse and repeated over and over again, but just with a new skin on them. Another type of enemy that you'll run into are these giant doorway type of creatures, which will impede your progress until you defeat something on the doorway in order to get through. I actually found these to be interesting, and they vary pretty greatly from level to level. In a way, they kind of always felt like a mid-level mini-boss to me. As you're defeating enemies through these levels, you're not only collecting crystals, you're also collecting pieces of a trophy that you can build and construct together, but there's also around 5 spritlings to collect in each level as well, which are normally pretty easy to find. You can also hear them screaming from a mile away. This game does a really good job at hiding its collectibles, man. I mean, there are some that you genuinely have to keep going around back and forth looking for because they're so well hidden. There's ones where you hit a switch and a treasure chest will appear on a corresponding color panel somewhere else in the level, or just straight up hidden pieces of a trophy that you need to build together all over the level in literally super obscure places. I mean, this game's full of secrets and areas to go check out, and even the platforming sections feel good to be on, even if you're just clinging to a giant ball. But like I said, these bonus rooms, they truly make this game to me, because some of them are so much fun. I'll never forget this one that's completely momentum based, and you have to jump off of these little ball pegs in order to fling to the next platform. And the thing is, if you ever die in these stages, since it's a bonus room, there's no real punishment. You don't lose a life, you don't have to restart the whole world over or the entire level. You just go back to the beginning of the bonus room, which are normally super small bite-sized challenges, so it's never really a huge punishment, and I love this. In fact, there's no way to fall off the world and die in this game at all. If you fall off on the actual level, you'll just go down to this little mini game where you have to hit these boxes in order to find a jump pad to get out of here. Lots of them will be filled with bombs, and there'll only be one correct box, but as you're going through here, you'll have these weird ghost dog things that are trying to poke you and take your coins from you. So there's really no way to lose your health down here. The only way you'll die is from enemies up above. But yeah, I was always so excited to get these little bonus rooms, and honestly, it goes back to me just really wishing there was a game where we could just have thousands of these little challenges where you could platform or do little puzzles to get to the goal, like little bite-sized action platforming levels. And that's why something like a 3D Mario Maker is always like a big dream of mine, because this almost in a way feels like that. And like I said, they're not always platforming based. Sometimes you really just have to do a unique puzzle by breaking down blocks in a specific order or moving blocks around a room in a giant puzzle to form a path to the center. But I genuinely haven't had a single room where I was like, this isn't a fun time. I love these areas. Now I will say the combat in this game does get kind of repetitive. It's just punch, punch, grab, and pick up. And then from there you have three choices. You can throw the enemy, you can power drive them into the ground, or you can spin them around until they get sick and yeet them into the background. But some implications that some of them have are really cool. You can throw some in order to make platforms up to a higher area. There's even some that have unique ways of taking them out, like hitting the glowing lights on whatever this thing is. But that right there is why Wario World is so special, because every few seconds you're going to be asking yourself, what the heck is this game and what am I playing? Some of the enemy varieties and creatures that you find in this game truly feel like a fever dream. What Nintendo game can you beat up a dinosaur and spin him around and chuck him into the background? Okay, fair enough, maybe one game. One enemy in the game is literally just Blastoise. There's a whole circus-themed world where you're just beating up clowns, like chucking them into electric fences. And it's not just the clowns, it's like the whole part of the circus. Like, there's even alligators dressed like babies that you're beating the crap out of. You'll literally punch lions while they're stuck in their cages. Like, PETA's gonna have a field day with this game. But that's just something I love about this game, is every level is gonna have some of the weirdest looking creatures you've ever seen in your life. I mean, even puppies aren't safe in this game. Oh yeah, one thing you might be wondering is what do the coins do when you defeat enemies, and how do you even get health? Well, you give them to Garlic Man. Yeah, you give him coins, he gives you garlic for health. I don't know. I just always thought it was hilarious to get his attention, you have to punch him in the face. But if this game wasn't weird enough for you yet, prepare yourself for the bosses. I kid you not. This is the first world boss of the entire game. Look, I tried to warn you. To this day, I don't think I've ever played another Nintendo game, or really any video game ever, that had weirder bosses than Wario World. Now, each 4 of the worlds have 2 levels in them, and each of the levels end in a boss battle. But there's also a major boss battle at the end of each world, meaning there's a total of 12 bosses before you get to the final boss. And you never know what you're going to fight. You might be fighting something simple, like a spider in the jungle, and then the very next level, you're fighting a clown with fake heads that I can throw at you that are bombs. His heads are bombs. But then you'll come across some that are just some of the weirdest things you'll ever encounter in your life. Like, yes, he just threw a baby across the room. Like, this is a snow world that's themed around Christmas in certain aspects. So, like, I was thinking maybe like an evil Santa, a reindeer or something. This was the boss of the snow world. I remember this boss just stuck in my mind when I was a kid, and it creeped me out to no end. I mean, everything this boss does is just freaking weird. Your goal is to take these bombs that it poops out, I guess, throw them in these craters and cause a volcanic eruption to blast it out of the air. This thing is just freaking eerie. It has an attack where it'll freeze you and its soul will go into your body and fill you up like a balloon in order to throw you off the stage. Like, what? Or if it freezes you, it'll come chasing you across the stage with its little legs. Like, bro, this is terrifying. But I'm going to be honest with you here. It might be the strangest thing ever that you're fighting a giant alligator dinosaur that's wearing a bikini. But almost every boss battle in this game is actually really well designed and a lot of fun. It's not jump on their head 3 times Mario style. It actually involves you doing some unique task. Like here, you have to latch onto her tail in order to ground pound on the top of her head to knock her out. With the clown boss, you have to hurry up and hop onto his ball to get to the other side before he throws a bomb back on the platform that you are already on. This double-headed dragon is probably the most normal looking, but also a really unique premise to how you defeat it. You have to take out one of the heads just to knock it out at the right time, for the other head to breathe fire into its brother. He also has an attack where he'll spit out all these balls that you cling to. But it's pretty cool because it's technically the first time you're not supposed to cling to them, because the other one will actually inhale them, which will actually do damage to you. There's even a boss where you'll play a memory game where you have to pay attention to which cup it goes in, and even once you figure out the right one, you have to hit the cup again because he's hiding at the top of it once the cup lifts. But yeah, even though a lot of them are some of the strangest bosses you'll ever see, they actually have some pretty fun mechanics to them, and in my opinion are way better than half of the Mario bosses in the series, even if some of them are opposing cowboys in a Speedo. Now, of course, like a lot of other Nintendo games, Nintendo did a big no-no in my opinion, where they had a lot of really good, well-designed boss battles, but they also decided to have one of the most anticlimactic final bosses ever, where it's literally just a battle with the Black Crystal, which for one, isn't even black, and for two, it's just a boring boss fight. This boss has a whopping 8 bars of health, but it's the same way you take it down every single phase. It's just running around the battle arena and freeing these spritlings in order to bring it to the ground, and then you can attack it. It's strange because I believe the Japanese version actually has a whole second phase, which it actually changes the battle up a little bit, which is not in the American or European versions, which is like, why? But overall, I don't really have a lot of bad to say about this game. In fact, I really like it. It's one of my favorite GameCube titles. I think my only real complaint is just how short the game is. You could probably blow through this game in 4 to 5 hours, and maybe even quicker once you've already played the game and know the locations of the treasures. It's just a very short, brief experience. I mean, if they had added at least one more level for each of the 4 worlds, it would be greatly expanded, and I think that's another thing that kind of made me mad is lots of the final boss arenas in each world were fully designed themed levels that we never seen. In the first world, it was a giant interior castle. The second world were these jungle ruins at nighttime. The third world's boss was in this lava-themed volcano area, and the fourth one was in this stormy sea wrecked pirate ship type of theme. And I thought all of these would have been really cool to be full-fledged levels instead of just only being a boss battle that ended each world. And it makes me wonder if it was because it had to hurry with development. Was it rushed where they had to actually have levels taken out of the game where their levels once planned for these areas? It's hard to say. But regardless, I highly recommend this game if you've never played it and you have the NSO Online Expansion Pass for your Switch 2. You can actually play this right now on your Switch 2. It's a lot of fun. It's actually a really good 3D platformer that a lot of people just don't talk about. So give it a try and let me know if you enjoy this weird game. Or give it a try if you just like beating up animals, I guess.